Many people do this. They start an SIP for 2,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees. And they say, I've started investing. My job is done. No, your job is just started. You need to push yourself to start investing more and more. The problem with people increase their investments at least 10% a year. Of course, it will be very hard because salaries don't increase 10% a year. And even if salaries increase 10% a year, people's lifestyle increase more than 10% a year. Unfortunately, they look at the mirror and tell themselves, I deserve this. No, you don't. But these things.
Wow, I love how honest you are about this. What is the size of your retirement corpus?
I don't usually reveal the corpus, but I'll talk in terms of the expense multiple.
Sure.
30x is considered as the threshold of financial independence. That if X is your annual expense, if you have a corpus of 30 times the annual expense today, withdrawal rate will be about 4%, 2018 or 17. So since then, the corpus is 60 times.
You mentioned first SIP amount was 1,500 rupees. At current day level, what is that SIP amount roughly?
Oh, it depends on your goal. Let's maybe we'll work through a small example.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay?
Let's speak about your portfolio then now. What was your first SIP amount in life?
Oh yeah, 1,500 rupees. I won't forget that because it wasn't a dividend fund. I didn't even know the difference between growth option and dividend option. I just chose it. I mean, somebody recommended it to me and I without any kind of research. But thankfully, what changed the whole thing was I realized that SIPs won't work beyond a point, in the sense that many people do this. They start an SIP for 2,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees. And they say, I've started investing. My job is done. No, your job is just started. You need to push yourself to start investing more and more. The problem with investing more, everything via SIP is that sometimes you have a bad month and your expenses will be higher that month. Too much goes into SIP, then you'll have trouble managing your expenses. Or you will have to stop the SIP, pause the SIP, whatever. I didn't want that kind of a situation. So I said, I'm not going to do SIPs anymore. I'm going to manually invest as much as possible.
So manual investment means lump sum?
Lump sum meaning it's a small amount, just a little bit more than a usual SIP.
SIP, okay.
But I would invest it every month on my own. But it's a little flexible. Sometimes I would do 7,000, sometimes I would do 10,000. I have this Excel sheet, which I'm really proud of. From 2011, I've been having the same Excel sheet and trying to track how much I invest every month.
Wow. That's next level dedication.
No, I don't care too much about what the market does. Because people always are worried about how much my portfolio is gained or lost. I don't care too much about that because it's not something I control. I can control the amount I invest to a certain extent. So for a few months, if I don't invest the necessary amount, then I try to make up for it in the future. So I only track the amount I invest. I usually recommend that people increase their investments at least 10% a year.
10%, at least 10%.
10% a year. Of course, it will be very hard because salaries don't increase 10% a year. And even if salaries increase 10% a year, people's lifestyle increase more than 10% a year. Unfortunately, they look at the mirror and tell themselves, I deserve this. No, you don't. But these things.
Wow, I love how honest you are about this.
One thing I've done is my lifestyle has not changed too much. Advantage of that is that I've been able to increase my investments at 20-25% every year. So at any given point of time, if you ask me my portfolio XIRR, my annualized return, that will be like what? 15%, 12%, and that fluctuates a lot. But the investment rate, the rate at which I'm increasing my investment, that has always been 20-25%. That has always been higher than the return I've got from my equity mutual funds or my full portfolio for that matter. That is what pushes you towards early retirement.
Understood. So you mentioned first SIP amount was 1,500 rupees. At present day level, what is that SIP amount roughly?
Oh, it depends on your goal. Let's maybe we'll work through a small example.
Go ahead.
Okay? So let's do a small retirement planning calculation because that's what appeals. Let's say my expenses are 30,000 rupees and I say my retirement is 25 years away.
Okay.
Right? And let's take a inflation of 7% roughly. The thumb rule for this set of numbers is that you multiply your monthly investment by a factor of 2,000.
Why 2,000?
I look at my withdrawal rate and I've set my withdrawal rate as 3.3%. That is the withdrawal rate, meaning the expenses that I will have at retirement divided by the corpus.
Okay.
So I've set it well below the usual 4% rule. Of course, it's not a very strict multiplier, but 2000 is an easy thing to remember for the audience. 30,000 expenses, 25 years to retirement, 7% inflation, the multiplier is 2000. It changes for when the inputs change. So that's 6 crores. The guy who is going to spend 30,000 will say 6 crores seems unattainable. But then it's 25 years away. So what should you do? How much should you invest for that? As a thumb rule, I would say if you're going to increase your investments at 10% every year, and if your entire portfolio returns 10 to 11% after tax, you need to invest about 18,000 rupees a month.
Okay.
So that is 60% of your current monthly expenses.
Okay.
So the basic thumb rule is aim for at least 50%. This is very important. Expenses don't include any EMIs, don't include rent. Hopefully you won't stay in rent at the time of retirement. Don't include any expenses made for children, because hopefully your children will be independent at the time you retire. And don't include any expenses for in-laws or parents. Maybe they won't be around by the time you retire. So if you deduct all that and just for yourself, for you and your spouse.
So basically expenses core.
Core, which you can't live without those expenses. And expenses are 30,000 in this example. If your expenses are X, try to aim for an investment of 50% of X.
Okay.
And this 50% includes your mandatory EPF deduction. If you're salaried, you will either have EPF or an NPS. Then you will have an employer contribution, employee contribution, etc. So including all of that, aim for 50% of your essential expenses. If you can push it to 60%, 70%, 80%, or even 200%, then you're going to retire that much earlier.
What does your asset breakup look like?
So currently I have like a 65% equity and about the rest is fixed income. So in that, I would say almost 60% is equity mutual funds. About 5% is stocks, direct equity. About 20% is my mandatory NPS, the government NPS that I'm having. About 10% of debt mutual funds. About 4% of PPF. And 1% is cash.
Within stocks and mutual funds, the equity segment, how much of it is large cap, mid cap, small cap?
It's largely large cap. I would probably have a little bit of mid and small cap, 20%. I don't hold any mid cap or small cap mutual funds. My mutual funds are all large cap oriented. So whatever little the fund manager holds is what I have.
And ballpark figures, what is the size of your retirement corpus?
I don't usually reveal the corpus, but I'll talk in terms of the expense multiple.
Sure.
30x is considered as the threshold of financial independence. That if X is your annual expense, if you have a corpus of 30 times the annual expense today, withdrawal rate will be about 4%. So that would be the threshold of financial independence. I hit this threshold in 2018 or 17. So since then, the corpus is 60 times, 60x, 55x, approximately.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing. Please read the risk disclosure documents carefully before investing in equity shares, derivatives, mutual fund, and or other instruments traded on the stock exchanges.